So there's this fairly common view that mobile games are an irredeemable plague and that the market is doomed to forever remain the breeding grounds of hordes of lazy autoplay clones that only exist to ravenously predate on people's wallets. And sadly, most of what we see currently reflects this gloomy outlook. But I'd like to show you a light in the dark, ironically a pretty dark game itself, but one that is the counter argument to the claim that mobile is unable to produce actual immersive traditional games. This is Grimvalor. Grimvalor is a premium game, meaning it's not free, it's story-based, and it does not require internet connection, which immediately makes it look odd among its mobile peers. At its core, it's a challenging hack-and-slash action platformer. Grimvalor doesn't do much in terms of innovation in the broader industry, but what it does flawlessly, and this is enough to earn it a very special place in the mobile marketplace today. Grimvalor was developed by the Finnish studio Direlight. It was originally launched in October 2018 on iOS and later in June 2019 on Android. It's a premium game, so you can play the first act for free, but unlocking the remaining 4 acts will cost you $6.99 USD with no microtransactions afterwards. And that's a small price to pay for all the adventure that's on offer here. You play as a little human, as described by this tall lady, who then tasks you with the most wide-scale demon extermination this realm has ever seen, in order to destroy the root of all the corruption that has consumed everything. This quest is separated in 5 acts, so your goal in each act is to collect portal shards so you can teleport to the next act. The acts themselves are composed of branching networks of chambers, and these spaces are very well crafted. There definitely is diversity here. Some are very vertical and spacious, while others are tight and dark. Along the way, there are many secrets and loot, so you need to carefully explore these environments and push the limits of traversal in the game to reach some of them. The enemies that populate this realm and the way they are placed make encounters notably challenging. You will often find yourself slowly and carefully crawling through those dungeons, looking for a treasure or simply trying to make it through, knowing that if you aren't paying maximum attention, you're likely to lose that last pixel of health you have and restart from last checkpoint. You definitely feel fragile and vulnerable in this hostile environment, especially after a tough encounter where you made one too many mistakes and now you're desperate to get to that next healing station. This makes pushing forward a tense experience. It's a dark and difficult game where you need to earn your progress. Grimvalor is not an easy game. I ended up dying a lot, too much sometimes, but that was just me sucking most of the time. I can't blame the controls either. In fact, something I can't recommend enough is that you play Grimvalor with a gamepad. An absolute must for the split-second timing you'll need to survive. Direlight were nice enough to include full controller support, something I think should be the standard, and I applaud them for including it. So how does the game actually play? Your offensive arsenal is a light and a heavy attack, and to defend you dodge. Performing time dodges makes you invincible for the duration of the dodge, and other than that you can double jump and climb walls, and that's everything you have at your disposal. So you need to be prioritizing your enemies, keeping an eye on all other enemies on the screen and dodge them and their projectiles, pacing your attacks in between all of this madness. It's not easy, and as a result you die often when you first encounter a challenging mob. However, it's fair and you can learn to overcome what the game throws at you. You can analyze your failures and understand what you need to do differently next time. The charm of Grimvalor is that once you get through that challenging encounter, you feel a sense of accomplishment because you learned from your deaths and you realize that in surviving and in your demise, you have control over how everything plays out. The game is at its best when you get into that flow where you pay attention to every enemy on screen and you masterfully dodge and slay enemies left and right, projectiles flying everywhere. Grimvalor does sodomize you progressively as you claw your way through the acts, but there is a substantial progression system in place that makes you stronger, especially if you take your time and look for all the hidden stashes, areas and chests. You can craft more powerful gear and buy trinkets that augment your character's passive and active skills, and that's enough to provide some combat diversity as the game progresses. Speaking about changing things up, there's also this mechanic where occasionally you encounter a super buffed mini-boss that hunts you, just in case you aren't having a super tough time pushing forward already. As far as negatives go, there are some nits to be picked, like respawning enemies and sometimes counterproductive time dodges, but those aren't worth digging into. They don't impact or contradict the experience. There is a far more important point to be made here though. Grimvalor is special because it's one of those rare examples that we could have nice things on mobile. There is a small niche for those of us that are not okay with the autoplay that is accepted as the norm right now. Valuing and applauding games like Grimvalor that stand in opposition to the low effort cash grabs is our best chance of seeing more of that kind of quality and content driven experience. I, for one, will follow Direlight closely, and I hope whatever they work on next will be at least as good as Grimvalor.